Power 104.7.
Rise and shine, St. Paul. Start your day the Power way. The Wake Up on Power 104.7 FM. Monday through Friday from 8 to 10. Let's go. Let's go.
Wake up. This is the wake up.
Hey, 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 hey. I love that song so much. It gets me hyped.
Hey, man, that is probably like
the best song ever.
Number one right now, bro.
Crazy work.
If I'm not mistaken.
I love it. I love it. Welcome back to the Wake Up, y'all.
What's
on
happening?
Power 104.7. It's time to get into our interview. Yes, y'all, the best part of the show.
Yes,
I
sir.
love interviews because, you know, we get to really, really, really know the people that is shaping these Minnesota streets for real. Like from culture to music to fashion to food to politics, all of that.
Definitely.
I love it.
Yeah.
So with that being said, y'all, we got a amazing fashion designer and so many more things that we finna get into it. Brandy Moore is in the building. Hey, Brandy.
Groundbreaking,
Morning,
talented,
good morning.
Yes.
creative.
Yes.
Appreciate
Like
it.
she is one of those phenomenal women. And since it is Women History Month,
Clearly,
bro,
we
I'm
had
telling you,
to.
hey man, you did your big one, bro. I'm gonna keep bigging you up. On
Oh,
this
for
month.
the guests that we done
for
chose?
this month, all these
Yeah.
women, bro, like all these entrepreneurs, all this positive energy. I love it for the women. So
I appreciate you all.
Yes.
Thanks
Yes,
for reaching
ma'am.
out. Honored for you all reaching out and having me.
man, thank you for coming.
Thank you. The drive was fine.
Yes, everything.
Yeah. Where y'all driving from?
Way out from the Bloomington Shakopee area.
Okay. Yeah. Away from city life a little bit, close
Yeah.
enough or far away enough.
But I'm a St. Paulan.
The
I'm a St.
birds.
Paulan.
Yes, I love it.
St. Paul native. Which area?
This area, the whole hood, the whole neighborhood. You know, St. Paul ain't nothing but this big.
Yeah. So Rondo.
Yeah, Rondo
all
for
that.
sure.
Okay.
Rondo for sure.
We all
Nice.
Rondo kids, low
Yes.
key.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not, but
Yeah, cause you from Joliet, bro.
first of all, because I be repping Chicago, but he be like that
Suburbs.
doesn't count.
Yeah, you know, I'm originally from Chicago, but I'm Minnesota.
period.
Yeah.
Yes,
You know, we've been
okay.
here long enough. We Minnesota.
Exactly. I've been
I'ma
here since I was
stop
5 years
teasing you
old, but I
someday.
still
Oh, you
represent.
Minnesota.
But I still represent home.
One day.
I mean, you know
stop.
what I'm saying?
Ain't nothing wrong with it, but we Minnesota.
Yeah,
We Minnesota.
absolutely.
Okay.
I love Minnesota though. So
Okay.
all right.
Let's get into it.
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
I'm excited.
So Chicago. So what age did you come up here?
I came up here like around 14 years old. I
Okay.
started coming back and forth to Minnesota from Chicago. My mom was living here. I was living in Chicago with my grandma.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
And what preceded the move?
Well, living with my grandmother was getting older, and she felt like it was just time for me to come live with my mom, you know, and be able to get out, do young things, and explore a little bit. But I was still a grandma's baby, so we just trade off summers. I would come here, go back to Chicago for the school year. So finally, one summer I came, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna get school a try here.
Okay.
And so then I ended up moving here, and then end up going to Highland.
Okay, nice. That's funny. My story is kind of similar to that. I moved up here when I was 5 from Chicago Heights, because I was born in Joliet, but then I moved to Chicago Heights. My mom and 8 people moved up here at 5, but every summer I went back to Chicago. So that's
Okay.
why I still be repping the Chi, because it's like,
I mean,
it's still a part of my
in our blood.
childhood.
It's no way to take it out of it. I was
Yeah.
going back and forth. We still go back and forth.
Yeah.
It's just in us. We
Yeah.
got it in our blood.
I love that. So Highland, and you graduated from Highland.
Yes.
Love it. What was the experience living in St. Paul? Because, I mean, you said Rondo, but you said you kind of St. Paul all together. So, like, what was the experience?
It was different. Well, it was way different for me coming from Chicago, period.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Just leaving from Chicago at the time. We were living in the Robert Taylor projects in Chicago. So just coming from that type of atmosphere, coming here to Minnesota, what I would call civilization, it was just a little bit different, and then at the era and the time that I came here to Minnesota, it was totally different. Life was different. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? The streets was different. Selby Avenue was an avenue. You know what I'm saying? I still crack the joke that we lived on Selby and we couldn't even hang on Selby.
That's
like
crazy.
my mom used to be like, if I
that's
catch
true.
y'all on Selby, you know what I'm saying? We was getting in trouble, but we literally lived on Selby.
That's
and
funny.
we couldn't even hang on Selby because it was just that type of life on Selby during that time. So, it was, and my mom was out here. She was in the streets. My mom was a hustler. Shout out to my
mama
mama.
too.
You know what I'm saying? So life was different, for us coming up. We seen a lot. We had a lot, we was exposed to a lot. But, it was just a different era, a different time. We was exposed to a lot but at the same time, the do's and don'ts, you know, were instilled in us that we knew that we couldn't, and we knew better, you know what I'm saying? Because back in those days, the whole neighborhood was your mama and daddy. You know what I'm saying?
We done say that 1,000 times. You acting a fool. They was able to tell you up real quick and then bring it to your mama after the fact, like, this what I did. Yeah. So, I 100% agree with that.
Then you got in trouble again.
Yeah, that was a big difference. And then just the discipline. When I first moved and came here, my mom would only, you know, let me go over to, you know, it was a Johnson's house at the time. You know, I could only go there and hang over there. That was the only place I can go, the only people I could be around. You know, so it was just different transitioning to that from being in Chicago, waking up, living in the projects. You can get up, go all day, all night. You know what I'm saying? And come back in the house. So it was just definitely there. Other than that, everything else was just fine. It was normal.
I love that. Where did you like stay mostly in St. Paul, or did you kind of make your way to the other side? Because, you know, I know a lot of people like before St. Paul didn't go to Minneapolis, and Minneapolis didn't come to St. Paul.
No, I didn't live over in Minneapolis to kind of like my adult life when I came back to Minnesota. But all my time coming up doing junior high and high school, my mom stayed in St. Paul. We were
was like foreign? It was like, foreign to y'all, or?
No, it was just where my mom chose to live. You know, when she first came to Minnesota, she just, you know, migrated here in St. Paul. And it just ended up being St. Paul. You know, we ended up staying in St. Paul. We went out to Highland Park, you know. We moved out there and lived out there. But besides that, it was just in St. Paul. Okay. Always St. Paul.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just a little bit to go back on the part where you said you were exposed to so many things, right? So those exposures, what was your outlet? Because most of us know you're a fashion designer. Was that your outlet for you, or was it something else? Was it sports, or what was more like your come up?
Well, it was really, it was sports. You know what I'm saying? It was both. You know, it was a little different for me because I got to see both. When I said exposed, I come from the Robert Taylor Projects, where you see, you know, drugs and all that stuff is right outside your front door. You know what I'm saying? So I was already exposed to that. And then just coming to Minnesota, just seeing the same life, but just in a different form. You know what I'm saying? So I was always exposed to the hustlers and around the hustlers or whatever. And so I knew somewhere in my mind I was going to be a hustler. But I was always exposed to go to school and get your education. You know what I'm saying? So I was exposed to both of those lifestyles. It was just finding balance. So me, myself, I found a balance and knew that I was going to hustle, and I was going to go to school. I was going to get that diploma. I was going to get those degrees, and I was going to be and do something. And, you know, so that was kind of like, you know, my focus. I always had a passion for fashion. So I didn't exactly know that, you know, it would go that way, but I knew I had that passion. So as I was working, I was working at South High School. I was coaching and doing case management stuff over there. I just ended up giving a 2-week notice one time. I gave a 2-week notice, and I was like, I'm gonna just try this clothing thing. To back it up a little bit, like in 2009, I had started playing with the clothes, just doing stuff for myself. You know what I'm saying? Making stuff for myself and just seeing, you know, how did I like it, and you know, where was I gonna go with it? Kind of got like a nice little response to it, so that's what made me say, I'm gonna give this a try.
Yeah. Okay. Let's back up a little bit. You coached basketball?
Yes.
I'm guessing. So what was your, because you're a little tall, what was your position in high school?
So in high school, I played all positions. It's kind of crazy. Like in high school, my coach came and got me in 7th grade. I was going to Highland Park Junior High. He came and got me in 7th grade. I played one game 7th grade. He came and got me. And I played varsity, you know, over for Highland Park Senior High from 7th grade all the way through graduation. So I played just about all positions. You know what I'm saying? Coming from Chicago, I learned how to play on the crate in the alley. You know, so that kind of taught me how to play every position. You know what I'm saying?
I love that.
And so then, you know, it was just basically wherever I was needed. You know what I'm saying? So that was pretty much it. That sounds
like a hustler responce.
Yeah, wherever I was needed. So, yeah, that was pretty much it.
Did you get any state titles while you were there?
No, I didn't even. You know what? We never got any state titles. We had teams was real competitive back then too, as well. You know what I'm saying? And then I was out at Highland. We didn't get. We got great players that came out to Highland, but not as many great players as Central. We did at Central. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And the other inner city schools. You know what I'm saying? So we were competitive. We had some greats that came along. You know, like Tanya New and them, Arlene, Nicole, Zinga. You know, I played with some great ones. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We had our runs, and then we had the Monica Browns on the other side.
Right,
You know what I'm saying? We're going up against those type of players and stuff. So we had our good rumbles. You know what I'm saying? We beat Cretan during our time, which was big. That was almost like winning a state tournament back in that time to even beat Cretan. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just to beat them in a regular season game because they was known just for being undefeated. You know what I'm saying? And just being someone tough. And they wasn't in our conference, but they was always on our schedule.
Oh, okay.
That's lit. That's lit.
You still hoop today?
Not really, but I still got it. The jump shot never leaves though.
Okay.
Because
You know what I'm saying?
that's
It's
how I
there.
be feeling.
The jump shot there.
Might have to wear a knee brace or something while I'm
Yeah, I be having to show the
know.
kids sometimes we in the gym working out that I still got it a little bit.
Oh, how was the experience coaching? Because I mean, it's a difference of playing, right, and then coaching when there might be a rookie out there who doesn't really know the game for real, so having to be patient and show them the love for the game, show them the discipline of the game and all that stuff. So how was the experience of coaching?
The experience of coaching, it was lit, as they would say. You know what I'm saying? it was dope in that time and in that era. Just being the head coach over at South for the freshman team.
Okay.
We went undefeated and then moved up here, the JV squad too, kind of went undefeated. We won it, and then essentially assistant coaching, for the varsity team along with Coach Emil.
That's lit.
He had some dope players over there. Fee Holmes, Taylor, he had THIE over there, Gabby. They had a run. A nice squad, did some big things. Coaching was different back then. And then after that class pretty much graduated was when I kind of stepped down from coaching.
Okay.
It's just watching coaching now and watching basketball now and being in the gyms and being involved. Just having a kid that's out there playing and watching him do what he's doing, it's totally different. Basketball has changed a lot. The style of coaching has changed a lot. The style of players
It's
and
not
stuff.
as fundamental
It's
no more.
It's nowhere near. And I was coaching girls at the time. You know what I'm saying? So I just think about the competitiveness that they had, compared to today and time. And I don't even honestly seeing it match up with some of the men's workouts and work ethics, and that's just being honest. So it definitely have changed.
Yeah.
I couldn't see myself really in today's time really coaching. It takes a lot more,
Discipline.
to reach the kids, a lot more discipline. Social media came and changed a lot. The kids get to be seen more, and then they get the highlight reels, and so it's I feel like it's less work being put in sometimes.
More of the
know what I'm saying?
content. The content's more important than actual.
It went all the way
Yeah.
from the
game.
fundamentals and the game and taking it serious and going to put the work in. You know what I'm saying? And putting the work in for self.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's just my opinion on it and my outlook on it. But you still get great players.
Absolutely.
Coming out, you know what I'm saying, and great players that still got old school teaching and old school methods of working out and stuff.
Yeah.
Have you had any? Have you had any players still stay in connection with you since you stopped coaching?
Oh yeah. I talk to just about all the players. I see them around. You know what? And I want to big up a lot of players from that class. A lot of them are doing well in life, doing big things in life. You know what I'm saying?
That's what's up.
That's what's most important. That ball's gonna stop bouncing. At some point in life, and then there's other things that you're gonna have to do. I wanna shout out THIE. She has the workout stuff going on. That's really big. You know what I'm saying? THIE Smith. Taisha Smith, she was a part of that
Nice.
class and hooping, and she's all over the world. Now doing her workout stuff. Shout out Taylor Hill. She's elite, got programs, WNBA player. Did big things. Fee Holmes, Wanda. All them, Misha, all them was a part of that. All them,
Wanda, no excuses?
Yeah, Wanda, no
nice,
excuses.
nice.
You know what I'm saying? All of them is part of my little tribe we had over there. We had some girls that was really putting in work over there.
Okay.
It's a few more, Candace Butler. It's a few of them. It's a lot on the list. I might miss Gabby. She got her own workout thing going on. Just all of them. They just doing great things. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And all of this away from basketball.
Yeah.
And, that's what's most important. And that's what you want to, as a coach, you know what I'm saying? That's what you want to be able to do later in life is look down the line, at some of your players or look back on them and see that they did other great things in life.
Absolutely. All right, so then after ball, right? Graduated. I'm guessing college was not in the. Did you go to college?
Oh yeah.
Okay, I'm about to say. I
yeah.
wanted to make sure. Like, did you play in college or?
Yeah.
Okay.
I went to Morris Brown College down in Atlanta. I played down there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was part of the AUC Center. Shout out Moby. Shout out the AUC Center. Then I came. I played here as well at MCTC.
Okay. Wait, hold on, wait. MCTC had a basketball team?
Yeah, we had a squad down there.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, we had a men's and women team down there. We put the only banner that's hanging up in the gym up down there. We won nationals down there. Shout out Traker McMillan and Omar McMillan.
I did not know that. Okay.
Yeah, we got the only banner that's hanging up in the gym down
Not
there.
the only banner.
It's the only banner.
It really is.
Because the program
crazy.
ended right after we won the national championship.
And that's why I didn't know about it. Because I'm like, I didn't know there was a. Okay.
It ended shortly after that. But yeah, shout out to MCTC.
Wow.
We did that. Shout out Kwame McDonald too. May he rest. He was a big factor. St. Paul Pioneer as well.
Okay.
Shout out Mitch McDonald as well.
Nice.
Big pioneers of St. Paul basketball. Their legacy is crazy. They were big in our era, big in our time. Without them, I don't think basketball would have shifted to where it is now.
Oh, wow. Okay.
They were big in the gyms with their own cameras, taking pictures, doing write-ups. We didn't have write-ups back then.
Okay.
You know, it was hard to make it into the newspaper back then. You know, so they were coming out every game, traveling, no matter where we were. They were popping out, showing love, you know, coming to get stats, write up on players and stuff. So shout out to them.
Love it. Love it.
Big
I
shout out.
love the love you showing, like for real. Okay, so then college, what'd you go major in?
So in down at MCTC, down at Morris Brown's early childhood education. That's what led me back here working in St. Paul and Minneapolis public schools. I worked for them for over 12 years.
Okay.
And then down at MCTC, it was an associate's degree in human services.
Love it. What made you want to? I'm guessing from you already telling us about the things you've been through in life as far as being an adolescent and all that. What made you want to get into working in schools, working with kids, outside of even coaching, right?
Yeah, it was just the way I related with just people in the community, period.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That made me want to just get more involved. You know, I was always into the kids that's just in the community, period. You know what I'm saying? You know, you got kids in the community that you go past, on daily routines, or you just see, or you live next door to, and you just start building bonds with them, and it just kind of spill over.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like one of those people. So it was only right that I, kind of work with kids. And then when I was working with kids in the school, I was working with kids with special needs.
Okay. Oh, that's beautiful.
So I just, I came in first at Central, working level 5 EBD students, teaching math down in that program. And then, just moved around to different schools in the St. Paul system, and then ended up in Minneapolis, bouncing around. And then I ended up working with the autistic kids. That was the last thing I was doing before I retired. That was the hardest thing to depart from.
Yeah, I can understand that. I've worked in healthcare, group homes, settings, and like that. So the idea of helping somebody that you can only give like a limited help to, even though you wish you could do so much more for them. Or even in my case, like I've had clients pass away on me, stuff like that. Like one of the most rewarding jobs, but it's hard at the same time. So I definitely can relate to that. Okay, so let's get into now this passion for fashion, right? When did you really start locking in? Like, I'm ready to start my own brand.
So like around 2009, 2010, I was playing with it. 2011 is when I gave my job the 2-week notice. Said, I'm gonna take a leap of faith and see where this take me. If not, I got degrees. I could get a job. I got work experience. So I could just go back to work. And the Lord's blessing, since 2011, I've been self-employed.
Wow,
2026.
Beautiful.
Okay.
I love that.
When you first took that leap, did you have like long days and nights where you had kind of like self-doubt on trying to accomplish the mission to push the brand out? And did you, in what ways did you overcome those downfalls or those days where you kind of were hard on yourself,
or
but you
to give
knew,
up?
you wanted to give up, but you knew as long as you keep pushing it forward, you're gonna make it because your brand, once it hit, I swear to God, it hit both sides of the river and it took off leap.
So it was never, you know what? And I'm not saying this in a cocky way. I never had those thoughts. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Like I never had those thoughts. Like, dang, if it was like at this point, it was like, oh, I'm finna have fun with this, cause my whole thing was I can't fail, because this was, you know, it was like I can't fail. If so, I'm just going back to work. That was my outlook on it, cause I haven't tried nothing else. So it was like, well, let me go try this. If it don't work, I'm just going back to work. You know, so that was my outlook on it. And so then, once I did get it going, I was kind of playing with it, and I was like, oh, I'm playing with it, but they really liking this. You know what I'm saying? Because at first I was just putting stuff on shirts for myself and rocking it myself. And so then when people would ask me, you know, about the shirt or something, I'm like, oh, they think that's nice. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So then I just went on to making other little designs of little stuff. I didn't even have a structure of what the brand was going to be, a brand or anything. Now I'm just getting creative, just putting designs and different stuff on shirts. And so then I kind of like took it from there.
Yeah.
And so once I took it from there and seen that was going to work and that was going to pop, I said, I think that's it. And so then once I seen that was it, you know, I just kind of got serious about it. You know, I started off with a collective of friends. We would sit around. We all had our individual, you know, little brands, just thinking of ideas with our brands, playing with our brands, different names for our brands. We would come up with a name, go print it, put it on something, you know, just play with it, see how the world would react to it. You know what I'm saying? And so just stuck with that method, really. You know what I'm saying? And got to playing with different stuff. Like I had a run of different things. I started with the Be Easy. It was just, you know, just a nickname of mine. It was just like a bee with a crown over it, you know, and then I was like, well, let me get into other stuff. Fresh level design, fresh levels, you know what I'm saying? Fresh exclusive levels, you know what I'm saying? It was just all different type of stuff. So all of that fell up under the levels umbrella, you know what I'm saying? To me, playing with just different stuff and seeing what was gonna stick. Yeah. And what was gonna go.
What made you stick with levels? Like you was like, okay, this is it right here. This just these few letters. This
because
exact
everything
logo.
else that I had up under the umbrella had levels in it. So no matter what it was that I was doing, it had levels in it. So I just said, let's make levels.
Okay.
Just be the main thing that I'm gonna stick with, you know. So I played with it early on in 2014. You know, I was doing some stuff. Because I had the fresh level design. Then I did the next level dreams. You know what I'm saying? Then I did the next level pursuit. You know what I'm saying? I'm just coming with all different type of things, but it all had levels tied into it. Okay. So levels was the word that stuck out. So that was the word I said, boom, I'll just make this the main thing because everything else, it'll fall up under it. It got levels in it already.
And what does that actually mean to you? Or when people see the brand, they're like, I know exactly what that means. Or what do you want them to believe?
So the meaning behind levels is the proof of desire is in the pursuit. Okay.
That's strong.
That is.
The proof of desire is in the pursuit.
Wow.
So it's just basically breaking that down. Terminology is like, it's how bad you want it. Is, you know, basically letting you know how far you're going to go.
Yeah. Either you're going to level up for it or you're just going
to stay complacent, stay where you at.
Yeah. And your proof, you know, is in your desire, is in your reach. You know what I'm saying? Because it's always another level. You know?
I love that.
Man,
I love that.
That is deep.
Yeah, it is deep.
Jesus.
That's fire. when you get real, like, meanings behind things, it makes you really think. Like, I'm working on a brand right now called Former City Girl. And some people, when they hear it, they think, like you live in the country now? It's like, no. There's a whole meaning behind it. That whole stigma of, you know, young, wild, and free, the city girl, you know, thing going on right now. I'm saying, like, that's who I used to be. I'm now elevating my life to be something different. Or not be something different, but just elevating my spirituality, my womanhood and all that, and not necessarily living like how I used to. So,
to another level.
Yeah, exactly. So I love when people give me, you know, meanings and backgrounds of their own brands, because it made me think about mine. It's like, okay, so I wasn't thinking too hard about it. Okay, yeah, so that's dope. That's dope. AKA DaeTV.
DaeTV.
Some DaeTV.
DaeTV. You are now watching the DaeTVNetwork.
I got a question. So, when you got levels on the road, did you ever go back and mentor other people that wanted to, you know, put their designs or put their brand out there too? And do you still do that too today?
So what it is with Levels and with the brand, it's mandatory to get in 90 hours of community service every year. If is many foundations in the community, even outside of the community, that you can ask is if it's anything going on, Levels is involved. You know what I'm saying? If they reach out to us, if there's anything we can do, Levels has been involved for years, since day one. Okay. Like, I'm always involved in community activities. We do turkey drives. We team up with the Exclusive 773. I've been doing it. Shout out Exclusive 773 in Chicago. He's been doing it for 12, 13 years now in Chicago. So I've been down there a part of that with him. So we just recently brought it to Minnesota and did the third one. You know, where we giving out over 1,000 turkeys. You know what I'm saying? Feeding families, St. Paul, Minneapolis, surrounding areas. You know what I'm saying? And then doing the coat drive, I do our own coat drive. We get involved in other community coat drives. We do backpack fundraising. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. We give backpacks. We put supplies in them and stuff. Feed the kids. It's always something going on. Yeah. We always hands-on, heavily involved with everything. Always with the community.
That is powerful.
Yeah, for sure.
When you first started Levels, I'm sure you had to tap into your community, previous basketball players that you coached, friends and family. Then I'm sure you tapped into the Minnesota local music scene, right? Because I've seen your brand on all kind of artists. You know what I'm saying?
Artists, DJs, promoters,
all that. Yeah. Did you feel like it was easy to tap into that? I guess into that market, as far as coming into music, or was it harder for people to kind of be like, you know what, I'm gonna wear that in this photo shoot, or I'm gonna wear that to my show?
I think it was it kind of went hand in hand in what I was doing. I was like already tapped in the music scene, you know what I'm saying, and the fashion piece was already there. So of course those were my people to target, you know, and just also those are the people that I'm out, rubbing shoulders with, or I'm out on a regular basis with anyway. So of course it was them to target, but I got big on when I got the brand up and going, trying to push it out of town. Because if you look back in 2013, I had clothes in Exclusive 773 in Chicago. You know what I'm saying? I was trying to get the attention out of town, because I was big on, if you get the attention out of town, then Minnesota, I'll catch on it later. You know what I'm saying? I'll really hop on it later. You know what I'm saying? If you go get it buzzing somewhere else. And that was back then. In that era, how I was thinking then. That was 2013. So, I did some previews of the brand, down there and out of town. And so was just really traveling around a lot, you know what I'm saying, trying to push it more so before it got here. So by the time it got, really popping here, they had seen it other places. So I think that's what helped other people here kind of like jump on it.
Yeah.
So were you already establishing outside before you created your flagship store here?
So I was doing it for a while, you know what I'm saying, out the trunk of the car. You know what I'm saying? I was just pushing the different brands and stuff.
That original hustler mentality. I love it. Yes.
Shout out to my mama. I got that from my mama. If anybody know Joanne Flojo, she used to be, on these streets though. That was my mama thing. She'll pull up, pop that trunk. She got all the latest clothes from Chicago. You know what I'm saying? The gold teeth, the pouches, the anything that you needed. Everybody know. My mama was the one with it. She dressed the city. You know what I'm saying? And so it was kind of like that same motto and mentality. You know what I'm saying? I had been pushing it out the trunk of the car. I signed a lease to the brick and mortar for Levels in 2015.
Nice.
Didn't open it to 2017. Spent a lot of time traveling during that time. Just peeping different layouts of stores and, different markets, what they doing in this market, what's selling here. Was big on getting out to L.A., checking out Melrose, you know what I'm saying, see what they got going on Melrose, on Fairfax, you know what I'm saying, that's where all the stores was. Just doing my homework, you know what I'm saying, really put some time into it, really got to studying the craft, you know what I'm saying, took it serious, and just really that's what made me equip myself and take it to another level.
I love that. Do you see a huge difference in, I guess, the fashion scene between Minnesota and Chicago? Because we get things later in the shy, right? But so I guess to say, like, compared to an artist in Minnesota rocking your stuff compared to one from Chicago, do you feel like there's a different, I guess, culture in that?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Explain
and not
that
to
to
cut
me.
you off, but just
No,
to
yeah,
get
'cause I was
straight
trying to find the words,
I'm
yeah.
trying to find a proper way to say it, but it's like Chicago just have a different swag, period. You know what I'm saying? It's just, it's a different culture there. It's a different, we could put 20 people and line them up and dress them up. You know what I'm saying? And we go know who from the Chi. It's just in you. You
I
know
can see
what I'm
that.
saying? It's just different.
Yeah, it's different.
I would say it's just different, you know. So yeah, it's a totally big difference. You know what I'm saying? And Chicago will rock it different. You know what I'm saying? Their approach to it will be different, but. You know, half of Minnesota is Chicago. You know,
And
Detroit.
facts.
You know, we all the same. So it basically, you know, it pans out. And then shout out to Minnesota, because you got people here in Minnesota that's
that put that on.
individuals, and I ain't gonna lie, they put it on. Shout out St. Paul though. Hold on, because we put it on in St. Paul.
Go
Now. In
ahead,
St.
tell
Paul,
'em.
you got to dress now.
Tell 'em.
You had to come with it, especially in my high school days. Like, you had to come with it. You had to put it on. Like, you still now, you got to put it on in St. Paul. You can't just.
Dang, you finna make some people mad that way.
No, that's
No,
the truth.
she's telling the truth.
I'm
When it
saying,
comes down to
I'm
it,
talking about the
Saint-
Minneapolis folks, though.
they gonna be mad, but it is actually true. When St. Paul puts that, like, they style, how they carry themselves, their mentality, their hustle mentality, definitely is totally
We gotta
different
put it-
than being
we put it
across
on.
there.
Shout out Mac. Shout out my brother out there killing the shoe game out here, St. Paul. That's St. Paul.
Yeah.
Shout out Wanker. She puts it on too.
Hey,
That's
funny.
family
Right.
too. You know, the other designers and stuff. Just shout out everybody. It's all love. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think I seen your name on a, I don't know if you're heavy on Facebook or not, but I think I seen your name on a list when it was like, who really put that on out here, and I seen you tag maybe once or twice.
Yeah.
So yeah, the fact that other individuals are even shouting you out like, oh, Brandy Moore, she one of them. So yeah,
I appreciate it. It's love. It's
absolutely,
all love.
absolutely. So
Speaking of music scene,
there we go. You know, I was on my
We're
way.
finna go there. We're segueing to the music scene. What got you into the music scene? Honestly,
Really, what got me into music was like back in our younger days in Chicago. I got a huge family.
Okay.
You know, shout out my grandma too. Shout out Reverend Nora Moore, who will be 97 April 11th.
Woo!
Shout out
Where
my
the
granny.
claps
Hold
for that
on,
one?
Jesus.
We need the claps.
Shout out my
There
granny.
we go. Yeah, shout out to Granny.
Yeah, so we have a huge family, you know, so it was a lot of us as kids. And so then we had this big thing, like in Chicago, we used to always gather around all of them, you know, spit music or whatever, or rap or something. We'll be sitting in the cars. You know how you in Chicago, some of the cars broke down on the block, but your
Yeah.
family owned them. So we used to be playing in them, sitting in them. The cars ain't going nowhere. We just sitting in them, though.
battery still work.
Yeah, in the backseat, acting like we going somewhere, having fun. Just, you know, and
I'm
that's where we
dead.
used to sit. And they used to write raps, all my little cousins and stuff. And I guess I used to have to be the one to tell them if they bars was up to par or whatever. Or if that was tight, or go put this or say this. So it started out as fun, you know, just doing stuff like that. And then it just turned into just a love for it. You know what I'm saying? And then just being from the Chi, and my aunties, you know, cleaning up, and then my grandmother, you know, with the gospel on the flip side to it. But just, you know, when you got to do chores and the radio on WGCI, you know, playing all the hits, you know,
Yep.
saying the Dusties, the whatever, you know what I'm
I do
saying?
that
So,
now.
Especially
Sunday
on that
mornings.
Sunday.
Yeah.
I do
Ooh.
Sunday mornings.
So
Yeah.
it just really got me, you know, into the music, taking the stick to paper and the tape to record, you know what I'm saying? That type of stuff. I'm that type of age.
I about to say, dang, you just told your age a little
Yeah, I'm
bit.
that type of age, but you
The
know,
tape?
just that type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was
Once
just a
again,
real
black
love
don't
for
crack,
the
yo.
music.
Black
Facts.
do not crack. So yeah.
So that's all it was, just a real love for the music.
All right.
That's
So
what's
what kind of endeavors did you get in when it came down to once you got done doing your college and, you know, playing basketball and coaching? What direction did you go into the music scene?
So just really getting into different shows and stuff, you know what I'm saying? First I started helping, you know, friends and promoters that was doing shows, bringing artists here, you know what I'm saying? So just really got into that heavy, and just learning the, you know, the connection and how the business kind of go, just from that standpoint of booking the artists, bringing the artists here, you know, learning to communicate with management, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, just the DJs and, you know, just the different booking people and stuff like that. So it really turned me on into doing the shows or doing different nights at the clubs and doing events. You know, I spent time doing that for probably like 5-7 years. You know what I'm saying? Just the different clubs here around the city. You know, just promoting different nights, different events and stuff, and just doing different things like that. That's what really, you know, got me turned all the way into the music thing like that.
And then you got into managing.
Yeah.
Right. So let's bring up one of the artists that you used to manage, Nimic, right? She came out going hard. A lot of people was comparing her to Deja Loaf. Right, I remember that situation going on then. How was that experience for you, managing somebody and being more so behind the scenes? I mean, you already had the experience, like you said, helping promoters, bookings, and all of that stuff. So did the management part come more natural, or was it a new lane?
No, it was definitely not a new lane. You know what I'm saying? I had that management before her, but it was a new lane on a different level. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Because she came in, and so now it's... artist, you know, well, you sing the finish. So I would say from that standpoint, without trying not to say, you know, the whole process. But so she came in just like, it was just really on a different level, because with that artist, we went and signed a deal, and we signed a deal on a major level. So I've never...
Def Jam, right?
Yeah, we signed with Def Jam.
That was crazy,
Shout out Def Jam, yeah. So did really some big historical things here in the city, though. You know what I'm saying? That's another big, huge monument. And far as that, the journey was priceless. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It was something that people in their lifetime, you know, won't get to be a part of. Yeah. Some do, some don't. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like a 1 in a million shot. But it was priceless. It was great. I was honored to be, you know, a part of something like that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? To even witness something like that. You know, sometimes I think back on it, because even through that whole journey and that whole process, we never really celebrated a lot of the accomplishments. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. We just kind of hit the ground, we signed, and we just kept it going. You know what I'm saying? We just had our heads down, running straight into let's get it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It was never no, oh, we did this, and oh, we did that, and oh, we did this. You know, it was a lot of milestones that was reached in between the journey. So, you know, just with that alone itself, you know what I'm saying, that was a lot.
Could we know a little bit of information on what happened with that Def Jam deal?
So with the Def Jam deal with him, you know, as soon as we did everything and really got going, pretty much, you know what I'm saying, COVID had came. And so everything was kind of like put on hold, you know what I'm saying? So it was no artist, nobody doing anything. And so then just in the direction that they, you know, wanted us to go in, and some things that they wanted us to do, they wasn't met. So it was a part ways, you know what I'm saying, thing. And then basically that was it. Yeah. Just the end of it, just the part ways. They released and we moved on.
Okay. Y'all still have a relationship? Y'all still?
Oh, cool? Yeah. So then you saying with the label or just period?
Like the label, Nimic, all of that. Yeah.
Everything is fine. So everyone just, you know, we like just cut ties and just moved on. Okay. Basically. And then like even with the label and stuff, I still got people over at Def Jam. Okay. You know, that I talk with, that I'm in communication with as well, you know. Nice. And then it was left on a professional, no hard feeling type thing. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That's good. Because your name is everything, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that industry is something else, and it goes far. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely. With the things that you're doing now. So, yeah, left off on a good note.
All right, so with that being said, do you get calls from the label for artists up here in Minnesota? Like, have there been a couple new artists on their radars that they like, hey,
give us the tea?
So who's this?
So not from just particularly Def Jam, but I do have, like, you know, some other labels, like right now, there's some things on the table with for some other artists. Okay. And that'll probably be a comeback later, you know what I'm saying? Okay. You know, the things is in motion right now. It's definitely some contracts on the table right now. Okay. And then it's some a few different artists, you know what I'm saying? They got a few things that's on the table. And then even shout out to me, I just really can't really get into it, but you know, a bigger position as well is in front of me. Yeah, that's gonna be lit. Moving from a management more to, you know, A&R.
Love it. Nice. Love it. Talk that talk.
Yes.
That's. Well, let us know what that is.
Yes.
That
Shout out
sounds very
Daoud.
interesting.
Shout out Daoud. So Talk That Talk is a platform that we came with. It's a kind of like a drop the mic platform.
Okay.
That we had
on the radar kind of style.
Kind of like on the radar type of style that we had came with and kind of kicked off. You know what I'm saying? Just to get it going to see how it was gonna be. We kind of stopped it for a minute, went back to the table, revamped it, getting ready to drop it. You know what I'm saying? Again for the summer and get it going.
That's gonna be
got
lit.
some. Been doing some shooting for it.
Yeah.
My guy got to be a part of a few of the shootings we just did recently for it. So yeah, we on the way. Got some new stuff on the way with it. You know.
Yeah,
Shout
I'm
out
working
to
on mine.
OET.
I'm gonna be on that thing.
We got to get you
gonna
on
be
there.
rapping on
I'm
that?
gonna be on that thing.
Yeah, he said he got some bars he want to get off his chest. So
he
we'll
He
let him
alright.
go.
He alright. He alright.
But yeah, be on the lookout for the Talk That Talk, and you can follow it at Talk That DAT Talk on Instagram.
Yeah, she
Nice.
showed me that platform, and I mean, like, the numbers on that for her, like, when she said she started it, and then we just kind of put it on the back burner, I was like, the numbers were crazy, yo, like,
Yeah.
for real, a couple thousand K.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. That's what's up.
Yeah.
Real quick, because we coming up almost to that time.
Yep.
Just to dive in it for a little bit. There's a Levels St. Paul, and there's a Levels MOA.
Yes.
Are they connected?
No, we are not.
Okay. What's the,
Boom,
what's the
y'all heard it
situation
here
with
first.
that?
As of August 2024, after the court ruling, we are no longer a partnership. We are not the same entity as well.
Okay.
All right.
And the Levels originally LVLS partnership that we had has been dissolved, court
Wow.
ordered dissolved.
Okay.
And the logos we still have all the same logos. Those are the logos that I created, all my artwork for both of the Level brands. And by law, doing to the case is all this is public records and it's open, information for people to go look up. But by law, both parties are able to use the logos.
Really?
Yeah.
How is that?
Right.
Okay,
I'm kind of confused on
So
that.
real quick to bring you up to speed on that. So both parties are able to use the logos. It is identified through the courts that I am the creator of the logos. It is all my artwork and I created them. But being that it is a law that when I came into business with my former partner, and I brought the logos into the business, and we didn't have an agreement signed that these are my logos or what shall be of the logos.
Okay.
They became part of the partnership. And so it being part of the partnership give my former partner access to use the logos.
Okay.
Wow.
Was it like bad blood between y'all, or were y'all like creatively just separating in different spaces?
Yeah,
or,
we parted ways.
pretty much, yeah, growing.
Yeah, we parted ways, and I wanted to part ways, with my personal intellect,
Yeah.
my logos and everything. I didn't care about it being other stores. So that was my whole thing from the beginning.
Okay.
I didn't care if it was 20 other levels. I just wanted all my logos and stuff, to remain with me. They my babies. That's my creation,
Yeah.
So to see someone else taking your creation and your logos, putting it on something, considering themselves a designer, you know what I'm saying? Or considering this something that they created, you know what I'm saying? It was different.
Right.
Yeah.
Are you still pushing you're still going to push the original brand, or are you just like going to just pivot into something brand new?
Yeah, well, I will push it's gonna always be levels, you know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
I will eventually rebrand. It's different and chaotic. It's past the time now. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? It's been time, so it's been a lot of growth and my perspective have changed. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I did something big and legendary, you know what I'm saying? I just celebrated 11 years of a brick and mortar, 10 years of business, you know what I'm saying? So I built something.
Give it a clap. Give it a clap. There we go. There we go.
I built something that was big, you know what I'm saying? That's still
Yeah.
here, you know what I'm saying? Even after they have to go up against each other, in the business world and compete, that's a brand that's still going, you know what I'm saying? At two separate locations, so that's something big, you know what I'm saying? And it's the logos, you know what I'm saying? It's not if the logos is able to go somewhere else and still sell, it's not about this, it's about
What you left.
what I put
So,
out there.
so when you walk past, you don't give the stink eye. You just be like,
No.
I did that.
It's me. Even when I see it on somebody else and it's not something that I made or I created, the garment, the logo is me. It speaks volumes. It speaks me. All the way around the world, no matter where you see it. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Do you get any like royalties off of the logo and stuff like that?
No, so it wasn't.
I'd be like, I need like 5% or something.
It wasn't even that, being that it was created and used. You know what I'm saying? Within the partnership. You know, so that was just a lesson learned too. You know what I'm saying? Just going into business, it's all about growth. Yeah. And then it's all about your perspective. You know what I'm saying? And time reveals it all. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Right. Well, the new brand, Designer Buffet.
Yes.
Let us know about that one, because I like the way that sounds.
So Designer Buffet is just basically a new brand that I went and created in 2020. You know, when most of the chaos came behind the Levels brand. You know what I'm saying? And so my whole motto was, you know, just me even having to wake up and go back and forth and see people even just questioning it. And my whole thing was, it was never any interviews or anything needed on my end. The world watched me build Levels from the ground up. You know what I'm saying? The social media was here. My social media is here. You know what I'm saying? My page is still up. Everything from Levels is still up. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Like, my journey is here. It speaks for itself. So I don't need to do an interview to take you all on the journey. You know what I'm saying? And the people watch. They was here. You know what I'm saying? They watch me build this from the ground up. They know.
Us,
you know what
real
I'm saying?
ones know.
So I just always felt like that wasn't nothing that needed. You know what I'm saying? And then, you know, so much attention. It had already got interviews from the other side, and it was for other people to decipher what they know, what they witnessed, and what they was a part of. You know what I'm saying? And then, you know, it's just about, you know, keeping it pushing and moving forward. So Designer Buffet came along, and it was just basically a buffet for the designer, which is myself, and it's just a display of all my different work, creativity, and art. You know what I'm saying? So that's basically just what it is.
I love that. I love that. All right, y'all. Well, we're gonna end off with this. Let the people know any things that you can speak on, new things you got coming up, what they should be looking forward to, and then also end with where they should follow you to keep up to date.
So we got a few projects coming up. One, mainly that I told you we'll be back in the building to talk about. Well, two of them. One that's in the process of being worked on, and then another thing just with the artists and stuff. We don't want to speak too early to these contracts and stuff. It's done. And then as well, you can look for Designer Buffet clothing store coming 2026.
Ooh, nice.
You know, we got that on the way. Then I want you all to get out and support. We have a salon/barbershop, Twisted Strands, located in Minnesota, right next door to Levels, and then it'll be next door to Designer Buffet as well.
Nice.
So come out, get in tune. You can follow me at @bmore_I am her, Levels, LEVELS_STP, Designer Buffet _ all one word.
Nice.
And then please check out Twisted Strands Minnesota as well.
All right, y'all.
Yes, sir.
That's Brandy Moore in the building. Thank you so much for coming through and waking up with the wake up. This was a dope, amazing interview. Learned a lot. So with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and end the show. Make sure y'all listen back to the wake up Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. On Power 104.7.fm. That is our website. Or if you are in the St. Paul areas, you can hear us in your car radios or your radios, period.
FM.
Your FM radios at 104.7. You can follow your girl, Shardae, at all social media platforms, all things _DAE, Day.
Yep. You can follow me at RealDjIntenz. And don't forget to go to the website, Power 104.7. Power1047.fm. Click that donate button for the Center for Broadcast Journalism, or you can go to centerforbroadcastjournalism.org and donate there.
Yes.
Anything else?
Nope, that should be it.
That's it?
We love you guys, and we'll see y'all tomorrow. This is The Wake Up on Power 104.7.
See
Till next
ya.
time.
Go ahead, it's your time, baby.